How is everyone? Woo! Yay! Yeah. All right, we're trying something new today. It's an old song, but a new way of doing it. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. This healing, this healing, this healing. Thank you for my life, Spirit. Thank you for my life. My magnificent, magnificent, magnificent life. My magnificent, magnificent, magnificent life. Thank you for my friends, Spirit. Thank you for my friends. Thank you for my friends, Spirit. Thank you for my friends. My radiant, my radiant, my radiant friends. My radiant, my radiant, my radiant friends. I said thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, welcome. How is everyone today? Good. Oh, I'm glad to hear it. Are you sure? There was a little hesitancy there. It's another beautiful Sunday, another beautiful day, and I'm so grateful that you've all decided to join us here. I want to say hello to everyone also who's watching us online. Whether you're watching live or in the archive, know that you are a part of this community as well, and it's such a joy to be able to gather together. And so there's an interesting thing that's happened today. Because of the Labor Day holiday, we have no piano player, we have no guitar player. We didn't have any musicians available today. So I spent some time this week putting together tracks for the songs that I'm singing today. So in a little bit of a way, it's 100% the Jonathan Zenz show. Welcome. So this is Tucson New Thought. I am Reverend Jonathan Zenz, and we gather together here as a community, a spiritual community with a vision in mind. And that vision is to create a world that works for everyone. We do this through our mission, which is to provide practical tools. And that is so important to me, practical tools. If it's just pie in the sky philosophy, it doesn't mean anything. You have to be able to put it to work in your life. So we're here to provide practical tools to enhance your personal transformation, your spiritual transformation, and awaken all of humanity to its spiritual magnificence. Because here's what happens. When we become awake, humanity awakens. Right? So I'm grateful to have you here. We value here community, creativity, diversity, but above all, love. We are here to be conduits and expressions of pure love all the time, 100% of the time. Anyone at any point of their spiritual journey is welcome. I know a lot of you are deep in your spiritual journey, right? But anyone is welcome at any time. And I want you to know, and we're going to do something a little different today. I'm going to look at each and every one of you right here and right now. Just take it in, taking you all in, and I just want you to know that I see and recognize the inherent magnificence that you are. You are magnificent. So now what I'd like you to do is share that. Take a look around. Look at the people around you. Recognize the truth of who they are. And then I would like you to affirm to everyone in the room, you are magnificent. So turn and look at everybody and say, you are magnificent. Indeed you are. And you, everyone watching online, you are magnificent as well. Doesn't that feel good? To just be reminded in that moment of our inherent magnificence, and to have other people be able to look at you and see it in you. So I'm going to invite us to engage in a little bit of centering. I love to start off by centering. And what I'm going to invite you to do is just to simply relax, breathe, and allow yourself to focus a bit on your breath. If you'd like, and it's comfortable, if you'd like to close your eyes, you're welcome to do so. Just let the focus fall to your breathing. Relaxing into the easy rhythm of your breath. There is nothing that any of us need to do to make it happen. It just happens. It's the natural flow of spirit. Allow yourself to deepen into that awareness that it is happening. With each exhale, the body becomes more relaxed. Simply inhale, then exhale, in and out, in and out. And from this place of centered awareness, I invite you to consider this. In every single moment, you have the capacity for transformation. Your mind sets the course for your experience. You are actively engaged in your own evolution. You are actively engaged in your own evolution. This is true because the inherent nature of you is divine. That which you are seeking has been causing you to seek. And so we simply allow it. Now imagine with each breath that you are breathing love. Breathing in the love that everyone here shares. Breathing out the love that you have to share. And beginning to recognize that this entire room, this city, right here, right now, this state, this country, this world, the universe is immersed with this love. Continuing to breathe in and out this love. I'm here to remind you of your magnificence, to help you awake to all the wonder that you are. I long to show you all the joy you're worthy of. I'm here to remind you how much you're truly loved. I'm here to remind you of your magnificence, to help you awake to all the wonder that you are. I long to show you all the joy you're worthy of. I'm here to remind you how much you're truly loved. Now gently affirm within you, repeating with your inner voice, I am here. I am fully present. I am open to a positive inspiring experience for myself and for this entire group. And with a final easy breath, I invite you to open your eyes. Just allowing the moment to be. To honor the faith traditions of the world. We do a ceremony every week called Lighting the Flames of Faith. I'm going to invite Karimon to join me up here to help me with this. Within this, we ceremonially honor all religious paths and faith traditions. And for each candle that we are about to light, we recognize that all people, all faiths, are connected as spirit. All form comes from an infinite energy. We're all part of that, right? We're all part of that. It comes from an infinite energy and a wholeness that is the source of all creation. And so we light the first candle for the Tao, honoring the universal path of harmony and equilibrium, the natural way. We light a candle for the shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and practices of all indigenous peoples, the way of primal spirituality. We light a candle for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. We light a candle for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. We light a candle for all forms of Buddhism, honoring the Four Noble Truths and the path of compassion. We light a candle for all forms of Christianity, honoring the Christ consciousness as the path of love. We light a candle for all forms of Islam, honoring the path of submission to the divine will of love as the highest calling. We light a candle for the universalistic religion of Baha'i, honoring the path of unity and peace. We light a candle for all forms of New Thought, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles. We light a candle for all those who are as yet unaware of the power and presence of spirit in their lives, and for the space that we are holding for them and for all faith traditions unnamed in this ceremony. We light a candle to represent the healing of any circumstance that requires divinity to be revealed. And the final candle we light is your candle. For whatever is in your mind, whatever comes up for you, this candle is yours. Thank you. I failed to mention I was going to have you do your reading now. So if you want to go get, yeah, grab the book. So I've been doing the Science of Mind thing that, every week. But we're just switching it up today. So it's not purely the Jonathan Zenz show. Here, I'll get this set up. Yeah, I will. I've invited Karimon. This is my sister, by the way, for those of you who don't know. I've invited her to do a reading, and I looked around in the book that we had in the room. I say it's not the Jonathan Zenz show, but it is my book. So, do you want to go ahead and... So she's just going to do something at random, right? We're going to let...
Yeah, we did this already for practice, and I thought, well, that was a good one, but you know what? It's still something... Oh, I got to get to the mic. So I'm going to just see what the Jonathan's book, Thoughts Are Things, Ruminations on Life, have to say today. Like, what's our message? Okay. So the heading says, The Deepest Reflection. Everyone, everything, everywhere is the mirror of my mind and heart. Reflections are us. Reflections of us, they are all around. We are immersed in reflections. We can't escape them. So how do we begin to honor them and learn from them? A journey to deeper self-knowledge feels elusive at first. At least it did for me. I mentioned in an earlier part of this book that I was attracted to the faith tradition I now follow because of its intellectual nature. I have since come to know so much more deeply. It was because I was willing to move beyond the intellect to a deeper place of feeling, and that is where I found the greatest gift life has to offer: true self-understanding. That gift is one that keeps on giving, too. We are infinitely deep. There is no bottom to self-knowledge, although we may perceive one. We frequently offer this idea to take a good look at our life if we want to take steps towards enlightenment, which is not a destination, but an unending journey of deepening. Life is a mirror, reflecting to us all that we have in our mind and filtered through the lens of our thoughts. That means all people we encounter are reflections of us. They reflect us in a way they behave around us, in a way they interact with us, and in the intermingling of energetic conscious space we have together. We do the same for them. We reflect them in our behavior, in the way we interact with them, in the intermingling, energetic conscious space we share. From these interactions, we are constantly making decisions that show up as the effects in our lives. Deepening our self-awareness through the observation of the world, we are attracting and in which, wait a minute, hold on, back up that sentence. Deepening our self-awareness through observation of the world, we are attracting and in which we are interacting can, if we do the work. I see, it's a long phrasing. Yeah. Like, what are you trying to say here, Jonathan? Okay. We are, okay. If we do the work, it leads to greater expressions of our unique divine nature. There we go. So what do you say? Are you willing to see the world as a mirror to what's in your mind? It may seem that there are some things you will find that you do not like, but you know what's great about that? If you find something you don't like, you are in charge of making the change to better yourself, and the world around you will change too. Thank you.
Thank you. Good news and bad news, right? When we recognize that the world around us is a reflection, it can be really great news, but if we don't like what we see out there, well, that's the good news too, like it says at the end, because then we have the capacity to do something about it. And it all starts in mind, right? That's the entire teaching. Everything begins and ends in mind. 100% of it begins and ends in mind, because everything out here is simply a reflection of what is in mind. And so when we get to, when we know that we have the power of choice at our disposal, that's the greatest gift we could have been given. And the thing is, we could say it was given from on high, but that would imply that there was something out there that was bestowing grace upon us. The truth is, it's all within. We bestow grace on ourselves. And the expression of life that we are is a choice. It's a choice. And so, choose wisely. So, in figuring out the music for today, I've been, it felt a little, I will say it felt a little challenging. But I decided I'm going to rise up to the challenge, because if the world is a perfect reading, if the world is a reflection of what's happening in my mind, there is some reason for this to be the experience that I'm having today, and the experience that I get to share with each and every one of you today. And it all became very clear to me last night, because I went most of the week thinking I was singing one song. And then I thought, as I looked at it last night, I thought, no, this is the song there's another song that is needed to be sung, that is meant to be sung today. And I'm going to talk a little bit about it in the talk, but it's a song that I have never sung publicly before, although it's been in my heart to sing it. Somebody hold me too close. Somebody hurt me too deep. Somebody sit in my chair and ruin my sleep and make me aware of being alive. Being alive. Somebody need me too much. Somebody know me too well. Somebody pull me up short and put me through hell and give me support for being alive. Make me alive. Make me alive. Make me confused. Mock me with praise. Let me be used. Vary my days. But alone is alone. Not alone. Somebody crowd me with love. Somebody force me to care. Somebody let me come through. I'll always be there, as frightened as you, to help us survive. Being alive. Being alive. Being alive. Thank you. Thank you. So, does anyone recognize that song? It's from Company. It's from a Broadway show called Company, which premiered on Broadway, I think, in 1970. And it's a show. It's a little bit about my understanding and history of the show. So I spent 25 years in the theater. My first paying acting gig. Actually 30 years. It was 31 years ago. How old am I now? I can't do math, apparently. No, it was so my first paying gig was in 1990. And that was I had been in junior high school and in high school as well at the fine arts schools here in Tucson. I went to Utterback, School of the Creative and Performing Arts, as a magnet student. I went to Tucson High School as a magnet student for their fine arts program, and my focus really was theater, although I was also involved in graphic design and other artistic endeavors. And when I was in high school, there was this show that our drama teacher talked about all the time that he just absolutely loved. And he thought, oh, if only it was not inappropriate for a high school to do it, he would love to do it in our high school. And it was Company. And you know, reflecting back on it, I see now some shows that we did in high school, and I think, well, Company is actually not too, like, so far inappropriate. And there were minor adjustments that could have been made to make it work. But when I came to know the show deeply, it's a show that truly resonates with my soul and my being. And the Being Alive, that song, is the song of the main characters, what they call the 11 o'clock number. It's the song of, no, it's actually not technically the 11 o'clock number. It's the finale, the 11 o'clock number. I'm not going to bore you with those details. Do you know who Elaine Stritch is? Elaine Stritch, the actress, she was a brassy, she was on 30 Rock, things like that. She played Jack's mother, real brassy New York type, right? So she sang the 11 o'clock number in Company, which was The Ladies Who Lunch. Yeah. So following that, she and the main character, her character and the main character, have this kind of awakening moment, which is the climax of the whole show, that he is awakened to this desire. You know, the whole show is about relationships and about his desire to want something but not feeling like it was ever really lining up correctly. And he comes to this point of saying, I am really ready. I am ready. I'm ready to crack open and invite the relationship into my life. And that's what this song is all about. Somebody hold me too close. Somebody hurt me too deep. Somebody sit in my chair and ruin my sleep and make me aware of being alive. I've sung this song 1,000,000 times. It's a dream role for me. I've sung it 1,000,000 times, but only in my shower. Until today, you are the first to have ever heard me sing it publicly. So here's the thing, is the entire show is constructed around the main character's name. His name is Bobby, or Robert. His need for something that was missing. And what he comes to at the end is to have the recognition and realization, just like Dorothy does at the end of The Wizard of Oz, right? That whatever he felt he needed, he had it all along. It was within. And so when he makes that claim, somebody hold me too close, somebody hurt me too deep, whatever he's asking for, it is a reflection. There are no mistakes in terms of that random reading today. It is a reflection of what actually is happening within himself. And as he reflects upon it, he relaxes into the moment and deepens into the awareness that he is never alone. Now, on the surface, the show is really about marriage. It's told in multiple kind of multiple one-act stories. I think there are 12 different mini one-acts that comprise the whole show. And there's not a through line. It's a very loose through line, but it's basically these vignettes of Bobby and his friends and around his observations of all of their marriages and their relationships. And he has this longing that is carried throughout the show. But I think more deeply, it is a show about searching. It really is a show about searching. And it, for me, asks and begs the question, what is it we are searching for? We come to spiritual centers frequently because our friends tell us to. No, I'm just... But we come to spiritual centers because there's that within us which is searching, which is seeking. And there's something that I like to say whenever we do the centering, because I do the centering every week. I like to say that which is seeking, that which we are seeking has been causing us to seek. And when we deepen back into that awareness, we do find that what it is we are seeking, we've had all along. Bobby is searching for connection. And there's a lyric that is sung. It says, alone is alone, not alive. Alone is alone, not alive. As if to say, I need to have people in my life to feel alive. And that's an erroneous statement. Now, I mentioned that this show premiered on Broadway in around 1970 because I think it also shows that there's a through line of change that Stephen Sondheim, who is the composer of that show, composer and lyric writer of that show, that he went through, and it actually culminates in another show to a deepening of awareness, right? Because the truth is, we are never alone. He says, alone is alone, not alive. But the truth is, we're never alone. So if we are never alone, we are fully alive at all times. Now, this other show, and maybe I'll sing a song from that show someday, is called Into the Woods. And in that show, one of the finale song is, "You are not alone. No one here to guide you, but you are not alone. Mother cannot hear you, but you are not alone. You are never alone. So I see that there is a shift and a transition through his understanding, the composer and lyricist's understanding, that was a deepening of spirit, right? So Into the Woods premiered in 1985, so we're talking 15 years later. Now, aren't we all on a journey of self-discovery and deepening discovery? It may take 15 years for some of us. It may. It may take 2 seconds for some of us. Here's what I call upon each and every one of us to do, is to be open to the deepening. And to be infinitely open to the deepening. And here's why. Because as that brilliant author wrote, I just have to joke about that. If the nature of the divine is infinite, then there is no depth. There is no end to the depth that we can go to. We are in a constant journey of deepening. A constant journey of deepening. You know, I think that when I first stepped foot in a religious science church, it was the right thing at the right time, and I was attracted to the right minister. Marvis and I were talking about it this morning. You know, I said we're always going to be attracted to the right people to be the teachers in our lives. And the reason I say that is because for about a year prior to my stepping foot into that first Sunday gathering, I can reflect back now and see how many people and how Spirit was nudging me in the direction of this particular faith path. Because there were people, I was living in LA, and there were people who were saying, "Oh, you need to come to the Los Angeles Church of Religious Science. You're going to love it there." And I would basically step back and go, "I'm not a church guy. That's not my thing. I don't do church." And then there were people who would say, "Oh, you would love Agape. You got to come to Agape and see, Michael Beckwith." And I would say, "No, not my thing. I don't do Sundays. I'm a theater guy, so I've got a show on Saturday night and a show on Sunday afternoon. I don't do church." But I think I've told you this. Speaking of relationships, what got me to go to my first Sunday gathering in a religious science church was being set up on a blind date. Because I was doing a show at the NoHo Arts Center, which is North Hollywood, the theater in North Hollywood, which is no longer there. But I came into this theater doing this show, and the person who was the front of house manager during that show was a practitioner in the church. And, I'm there as an actor with a company that just rented the space for their show. But she and I started having these conversations, and I was talking at that point, however many, that was 2000, so we're talking 2004, 2005, where I said, "Yeah, I'm single and I'm looking," right? I was Bobby, basically. "I'm single and I'm looking and I don't know, And she said, "Oh, there's this great guy. He comes to our service on Sunday." And my first reaction is, "Nope, don't do Sundays." But then something settled more deeply within me, and I thought, you know what? Okay, I can go meet a guy. Because, well, where's my priority? So I decide that I will go to a Sunday gathering and meet this person, and I did. And it was fine and dandy, and it was lovely. He and I went on one date, and we decided that we were not right for each other. Totally fine. But from that Sunday forward, I basically did not miss a Sunday up till this day. I've not missed a Sunday. Because something was illuminated within me by the right teacher. And what I was saying to Marvis this morning, I spent 25 years basically in the theater, and the right teacher for me was a man who had spent his career as a Broadway actor, a recording artist, and an all-out performer, who then later in life decided to become a minister. That's clearly what the resonance was. So I was attracted to the right teacher at the right time. There is a shift that we are all of us going through. And it has nothing to do, I just want to say, it has nothing to do with physical age. It has nothing to do with anything in the world of form. It has nothing to do with the physical. But it is a shift, a maturing into a deeper sense at all times of connection and understanding. And as we mature, we are transformed. So this is a constant life experience of transformation, of maturing, of deepening, because it never ends. So some of you who may have seen the talk title, Be Transformed, may know that it's a reference ultimately to the Bible. Romans 12, chapter 12, verse 2 says this, "Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind." Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of the mind. There are New Thought principles in the Bible. I'm just putting it out there, right? Because a lot of people come to New Thought because they're like, I don't want to deal with that anymore. But a large portion of this book is the teachings of Jesus in the New Testament. Do not conform to the pattern of this world. Be yourself. Deepen into your own sense of who you are based on the infinite truth that you are divine. You are the experience of the divine in form. You are the experience of the divine in mind. Right here and right now, you are God. Ooh. Right? People have a hard time hearing that. But there's no separation. That's what we teach. There is absolutely no separation because there is no outside God. We are collectively, the entire universe is the body of God. We're a part of that. If we thought we were separate from it, well, then we're saying that God is finite. Because to be infinite means to be inclusive of all. The minute you separate something from the infinite, both aspects are finite. So that's why I stand up here, and part of my entire ministry is to say we need to get really comfortable with saying, I am God. You are God. Everyone is God. It's good orderly direction. I've talked about this, right? I talked about it a few weeks ago. Good orderly direction. Greatness on demand. However you choose to utilize and understand your own divinity, it's right. So do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. If we want to experience the allness of the divine as ourselves, we must be transformed through the renewing of our mind, which is to say we need to use our mind. We need to use our mind. Don't allow ourselves to go down and have willy-nilly thoughts that are just going into alignment with the status quo, conforming to what is. We evolve through the use of our mind, and we get to take active participation in that. Now, transformation is assured, no matter what. What is not assured is the way in which we transform. I'm going to say that again. Transformation is assured, but what is not assured is the way in which we transform. And it goes right in the line with, are you taking charge of the use of your mind and actively participating in your own transformation and evolution? Because it's work. It's work. Nobody ever wants to hear that. They just want to come on a Sunday and, oh, it feels so good, and I get to leave here feeling good. And then you get to about Wednesday and you're like, ugh, life. And then you get to Friday, you're like, oh, life. It's like, oh, it's time to go back on Sunday. Oh, I feel so good. Yeah, I leave here feeling good. You get to Wednesday, ugh, life. That's conforming to the repetitive nature that is in your own mind, but you are the only one who can do anything about it. I can't do anything for you except be a signpost. I can give you tools. I can give you practical tools, spiritual mind treatment or affirmative prayer, centering, meditation, visioning, affirmations, whatever resonates with you as a spiritual practice. These are ways that you can engage actively in transformation. We are blessed with minds that think, right? We're blessed with minds that think. And as we think, we set the course of our evolution. We get to decide on our path. We get to decide what that's going to be. Ernest Holmes wrote this in relationship to Romans 12:2. The renewing of the mind is a scientific act. The renewing of the mind is a scientific act. That's why it's religious science, or the science of mind. As the conscious thought pours truth into the subjective channels of creative energy, the body is automatically renewed. This is mental healing. Mental healing is a conscious act. There's a lot in that. And if you're not familiar with the jargon that that's a shorthand for those of us who have been in this for, a decade or 2 decades or 10 decades or however long we've been in 10 decades, it's 100 years. I don't think any of us have been in this for 10 decades, at least that I'm aware of in the room. I'm going to go through this. The renewing of the mind is a scientific act. As the conscious thought, as our creative thought, those kernels of truth, those kernels and ideas that we are actively aware of, some that we're not actively aware of, but as those things are impressed into the law of cause and effect, those things are cause, we impress them upon the law of cause and effect, and what flows forth is the effect. As the conscious thought pours truth into the subjective channels of creative energy, the body, that's the effect, is automatically renewed. This is mental healing. The philosophy of New Thought traces its roots back to the healing of the physical body, basically faith healing. That's where it starts. We have translated the idea of healing to mean all kinds of things, but if you get down to it, it was, I can, through the power of my mind, set and heal a broken bone like that because of the way I use my mind. Emma Curtis Hopkins, who is one of the original New Thought thinkers, was well known for being able to heal the physical through her use of mind. People would come to her from far and wide to be healed by her presence. Of moving through, deepening into this philosophy and deepening into the awareness of who we are, because that's where it all starts. Knowing who we are is where it all starts. There are many of us who become practitioners within this philosophy, many of us who become ministers within this philosophy, and it is our deepening awareness that our mind heals. And so we can heal the physical effects of the body. I have a friend who's having an experience, a health experience, that's what I'm going to call it right now, having a health experience right now that does not feel in alignment with the most magnificent life that he can live. And the one thing that I said about it is, we're going to love it into oblivion. That thing that is erroneous in the body, we're going to love it into oblivion. That's where it all starts. Not by going into a place of fear around it, but being transformed by the renewing of our mind into love. Always into love. Healing is the revealing. This is fundamental to the teaching. Healing is the revealing of the God, of the divine, of the love at the core of all physical experiences. Healing does not occur through suppression. Frequently when we go into fear, we're trying to suppress, we're trying to hold on to, we're trying to coerce. But when we let go and say, I'm going to love this thing into oblivion because it is no longer required as a part of my experience, that's relaxing into healing. That is relaxing into healing. And healing occurs when we face the aspects of life. We must be willing to face the aspects of life that need healing. When we face them, we can do something about them. If we suppress them, we can't do anything about them because we're trying to shove them to the side. It doesn't exist, right? No. And people get confused too because we teach, turn entirely away from the condition. It's in the book. The condition of ill health. turn entirely away from the condition. People misunderstand that because they forget the rest of the sentence. In spiritual healing, in spiritual mind treatment, we must turn entirely away from the condition. Because by the time we get to spiritual mind treatment or affirmative prayer, we've already looked at it. We've said, I recognize you. I understand you for what you are. And now I get to know a deeper truth about it. And in setting that intention, I get to turn entirely away from the condition and set my mind into the cause. I'm turning away from the effect and setting my mind into cause to create something new, a new experience, loving it into oblivion. When we renew our minds, the effect is not just mental, it becomes physical, because everything in mind must express itself in physical form in some capacity. So what needs healing? The roots of healing in this philosophy are physical, the body, right? I said that. But we've sort of looked at life, and in the teaching now we go deeper, and we say there are sort of four areas, there are four kind of overarching areas that we can look to for healing. They are these. Health, that's one, obvious. Two, what can use healing? Prosperity, our wealth, our experience of abundant flow. Number three, relationships. How we are in relation to others around us, and not only to others around us, but how are we in relationship to our own sense of self? All things that can be healed. And creative expression, which many people will say, our jobs. No, but our jobs, if we are in alignment, can be beautiful expressions of the creative nature within us. I have a lot of people over the years who have said, oh, I'm so unhappy in my job, but I have to hold on to it. I'm like, why? If that's not in alignment with your sense of who you are, your loving sense of self, let it go. If you are in alignment with your loving sense of self, you can heal the experience of creative expression by letting that job go, because it's just a job, and step into the flow of your infinite creative expression, which will always be supportive of your best self. Now, what I've not said is that it's in support of your financial experience of life, because we often tie those things together. Our creative expression and our finances, right? Our job and our money. But money comes to us from infinite source, right? It can show up anywhere. It's one of the things I talked about in the Wednesday night class that we're doing online. The more we let go of the idea that our money comes from one narrowly focused place, the more we open up to the infinite flow. That's the truth. Aligning with the constructive, that's what we're talking about. Aligning ourselves with the constructive and releasing old and false images in mind. So in this class that I'm teaching on Wednesday night, we're looking at one leg of that table, the prosperity leg, right? As we renew our minds in the one area of prosperity, we tacitly, that means just by way of being, we tacitly align the mind in those other areas as well. That's why spiritual practice as a constant daily engagement is so important. Because no matter what we're working on, if I am working on my experience of financial prosperity, and I'm engaged in the spiritual practice every single day, the other three legs of the table, health, relationship, and creative expression, are going to be going into alignment with that as well, if I'm in the practice. Got it? So wholeness is really what I'm talking about here. Spiritual practice in any area is a spiritual practice in wholeness. Now here's the thing. I'm going to go back to the song. Because what I discovered is I actually now have a lot of problems with the song. The song is problematic. It's very problematic, and I'll tell you why. It is the cry, and now I have a problem with the show, because that's how the show ends. Does he truly find that sense of self within? I don't think so, but I'll tell you, not if I do the show, when I do the show, because this is still a dream role to play, I'm going to find a way to engage that deeper understanding within the context of that show. I legally cannot change the script. I can't change the lyrics. I can't change anything about it. But in the way that it is directed, in the way that it is performed, I will allow that to be how that show is resolved. True renewal of the mind starts as an inside job. Like I said before, it takes work. But you know what? You are worthy of the work. You are worthy of infinite prosperity. You are worthy of loving relationships. You are worthy to experience amazing physical health. You are worthy of dynamic creative expression. The better news, you don't need to search for it because it's all here. Renew yourself within your own mind in alignment with the good you seek and be transformed. Namaste. Everybody's thinking so deeply. A lot to think about. Just take a breath. What I'm going to do is use spiritual mind treatment to concretize what has been heard. There's a fly in here that keeps saying hello to me. So just allow yourself to relax right where you are, settling in to this perfect moment and deepening into just allowing yourself to be in the flow of these words that I speak. Right here, right now, what I know is that there is only one power, one presence, one infinite creative resource. There is only one thing going on. There is only love. There is only light. There is only peace, power, beauty, joy. There is only God. This God self is expressing itself by means of each and every one of us because it is expressing itself by means of all of creation. Each and every one of us being a perfect individualized expression of this infinite wholeness, experiencing its life, living its life as our own, calling it our own, but deepening more and more and more into the expression of God as ourselves at all times. Each and every one of us, I trust, is in the creative flow of life. For we are renewing our minds right here and right now into that flow of transformation, participating firmly, actively, easily, and effortlessly in the graceful evolution that is ours to be experienced. And so as we deepen into the infinite well of good, of love, of life, I know each and every one of us is transformed. I trust this implicitly. I relax into this knowing. I let it be so with deep gratitude in my heart, trusting in the law to do its perfect work. I release, let go, allow, and trust, as together we say, and so it is. Thank you. I'm going to invite you to take out whatever it is you're offering the center today, with a reminder that Tucson New Thought is a community that is supported through your generosity. And whatever you call it, your investment, your gift, your contribution, it doesn't matter what it's called. It's sharing. And this entire class this week was all about sharing. The consciousness of giving is the starting point, which engages the experience of receiving, because to give and receive are two sides of the same coin, and to be in the flow means we must give and we must receive. So keeping in the flow is part of what we experience when we give to our spiritual nourishment. There are options for giving. You can give here in person. You can give online as well. If you are watching us online, there are links in the description field there for you. And I just want to let you know I am grateful for all that you do to support this center. It is deep gratitude in my heart that I experience, and I am grateful for the blessings that you share. So as this goes around, I'm going to actually put in mine for today. One of the things that I did start, you can set up recurring giving, which is a great way to support the center, to set up a recurring giving using your credit or debit card. You can do that on our website. And it just ensures that we get to have a sense of what is flowing through to us so that we can make wise decisions about it. So if that speaks to you, I invite you to consider it. Let's read together on your sheet the divine givingness statement. And it is in that sort of reddish-brown color. Let's read this together. Divine love consecrates my gift. It goes forth to heal, prosper, and bless. It is evidence of my conviction that Spirit is the source and substance of my supply. I joyously contribute to the vision of my spiritual center, knowing that it returns to me multiplied abundantly. And so it does. As we continue to grow Tucson New Thought, we have needs that continue to express themselves. And I realized in my haste to get here this morning, I did not do a sign-up sheet for ushers, greeters, and hospitality. But if that speaks to you, just talk to me about it following the gathering today. I also want to let you know that class continues on Wednesday nights at 7:30. It is fully online, and those of you who are in the room who experience that, you see it's like we actually get to have conversations with each other, which is lovely because everyone has their camera or the microphone. And but it's a interesting way of doing class because we get to utilize virtual space as opposed to a physical space. If you would like to get caught up, there is an archive video. You can watch the first class and basically start to get caught up and join us live on Wednesday. Or you can do the whole thing in archive. If you're interested in that, let me know because I will request your email so that I can send you the links for that. So the class on Wednesday nights, 4 weeks to financial freedom. The whole point of view is this: apply spiritual principles to your life and prosper. That's the way it works. So I want to say thank you to Karimon for helping me out today, lighting the candles and also doing the reading. I want to thank John and the Spark Project Collective for being our host and home for Tucson New Thought. I want to thank Aiden for your great work on the technical aspects of the service and getting us out to the world. And mostly I want to thank each and every one of you online, everyone who's connecting to the experience of this community. And I want to thank Paul and also William and Anita and Jennifer. You've told me, Janelle. Yes, for bringing refreshments for us to share today. I really appreciate that we get to have some fellowship and sharing refreshments today. So thank you for that. Let's just relax right where we are. Frequently, what I will do is speak a prayer during the final song, what I call the benediction song. But today's song is a prayer, so I'm going to let it stand on its own. Loving Spirit, dwell in me. This is my divinity. As within, so without. All I need is here and now. Have no fear. All the power, all the glory, I surrender. Let it be. Loving Spirit, dwell in me now and evermore. Loving Spirit, dwell in me. This is my divinity. As within, so without. All I need is here and now. Where there's air, let me love. May I have no fear. All the power, all the glory, I surrender. Let it be. Loving Spirit, dwell in me. and so it is. Thank you all for being here today. Just do a little pickup to